Anthony Hall, I work for Lallemand Animal Nutrition, and I am the Dairy Technical Support Specialist. On the technical productive side, it's really getting people to think seriously about the forage supply. And that just means more than the feed value and the palatability. It's really, are there any bad actor microbes in there? Are there any toxins that are going to challenge the cows? And more importantly, what steps can we take to avoid that? But then we build from that, and if we've got that very clean feed, hygienic pile of forage, how do we combine that into a total mixed ration? That's what we call a TMR. And then how do we get that to get the cows to be productive, protect their gut health and their overall health? And in doing so, we get to an end point where, hey, we actually make more milk components per unit of dry matter intake, and so we're more efficient and the producer's more profitable. So once we've made the clean feed forage, we've then got to think about combining that clean feed forage with the other ingredients, and then think about how we protect the gut health of the dairy cows, and then also think about how we can include some of that Lallemand technology to help enable that. So all the time in the Lallemand clean feed approach, we're trying to look at a real positive synergy between making a very clean forage base and then making sure that the TMR is not only as digestible as possible, but is managed in the rumen, as thereby we get the optimum digestion, no disruption, and we get something called feed conversion efficiency, which basically means more milk components for the same unit of intake. And so now we're making more profit and productivity for the dairy farmer, and the dairy cows are maintaining their health. Really, looking at the right way to make clean feed and the ensiled materials, using Lallemand, technology like the Magnesia inoculants is a huge step forward. And actually Lallemand's invested a lot of research over the past decade with specific strains of bacteria. So we are very confident that when we come across something like a Clostridia or an E. coli, that we can knock that out, and that's not going to be part of what the animal eats. That's going to be a totally clean feed. We've begun to realise that gut health now translates directly to herd performance. One of the big steps I like to talk about is including something like the active dry yeast, which is rumen specific, that is Levocel SC 1077. Thereby we're going to help manage the rumen pH and minimise unwanted digester getting into the small intestine that's going to challenge the dairy cow. Clean feed management unpredictability is a great question. Because what it gets you to think about is the way farmers work, they're not undercover. The way dairy farming is, it's subject to the weather. So change for all of us is just part of our life, right? Things are going to change. It's really, you don't back down. It's how you prepare and adapt to it. And farmers are very good at doing this. So now we're going to blend that clean silage, that clean feed haylage and silage into the ration, and we're going to take care of gut health with the Levocel technology. So straight away we get ourselves into a position where we are actually optimising the amount of milk component yield for any given unit of dry matter intake. That puts that dairy farm in a very secure position. The clean feed approach can help your herd achieve its highest potential. We know on a day-to-day basis we can manage the hygienic quality and feed quality of the silage, and we know we can help manage the gut health of the dairy cows. Clean feed is going to be part of our future. It's going to help dairy cows be around for the future. And if we just break that down now, what does that mean? We want to make sure that we're making clean feed silages and ensile feeds that present no challenge to the dairy cows in terms of gut health. And we can do that with some steps in terms of critical control points of management, but also using Lallemand Magnesia inoculant technologies. And the gut health's important because it consumes a lot of energy to maintain gut health, and every time that gut health is challenged, we've got a lot of energy diverted, from a different direction, like cow health and milk production. So Lallemand's been aware of this for some time, and we have a great product called Levocel SC 1077, which is our rumen-specific active dry yeast, which is, there's nothing in the market to compete with it in terms of managing subacute rumen acidosis, or SARA as we call it. And SARA is the occupational hazard of the modern dairy cow, and any time a herd gets into SARA, and the cows in that herd do, well then we're going to have a problem with rumen dysfunction and indigestion, and probably more likely than not downstream effects in the small intestine and the lower gut that we don't want to see. These are actually challenging in two ways. They challenge the herd health, and that's a problem in terms of cow longevity, but they also increase the amount of energy that's being used in an immune response, so it robs from the profitability. So if we kind of dovetail everything together, if we can make a secure, premium, clean feed forage base, put that into a mixed ration alongside Leversol SC 1077, okay, and minimise the challenge to the gut health of the cow, then we can enhance the overall ration digestibility and maximise the amount of energy that goes to the productivity of milk components and cow health and longevity.